Hello, Free Enterprise fans, and good evening to you. We're going live today with an exciting matchup here in the second week of the Magma route between Gambit and Leggystarscream. My name is Xenocat, and I'm joined in here in the booth by Bad Karma. How are you doing tonight, Bad Karma?
I'm doing well. We have an elimination match for you here tonight. The winner will move on as a one-on-one racer, hoping to get to that 2-1 record, and the other will be sent home to do one more match just for pride. We got some interesting names from Gambit. Still trying to figure out some of them, and got some Transformers on the other side.
Yeah, I have no idea what Gambit's names are.
Yeah, that's interesting. But anyway, as we are in the highway to the Threemus zone, wanted to point out our objectives tonight. We have, as always, forge the Legend Sword with the Adamant to get the Excal. We have break the Dark Elf spell with the Twin Harp, trade away the Rat Tail, and defeat the Baron Castle Basement Throne. Being highway to the Threemus zone, we only have to do 3 of the 4 objectives.
Yeah, and I'm sure chat's excited to see that break the Dark Elf spell objective, which means that we're much more likely to see music from both of our runners during the seed rather than if it weren't an objective. And this is looking like a lot of key item hunts, I have to say.
Yeah, everything requiring a key item with this. Hopefully we will get some music, we will get a job to work check. But what are you hoping that the runners have to start off with key item-wise?
Goodness, that's normally I would say a hook but with the trade away the rat tail objective, that's half of an objective right there. I don't want it to be too easy. So I'm leaning towards a starting tower key.
Ooh, that would be a good one. Honestly, I would be happy with a Magma key start just because it gives so many options to try and find these key items. Ideally, my ideal start, as I think about it, a Magma key start with a Darkness Crystal and Antlion. The world is your oyster.
See, I'm the opposite way. I love having darkness be buried behind a whole bunch of stuff so that, you know, I have the chance to run into a whole bunch of other key items and I don't have the whole world open to me and I'm panicking about, oh no, where did my opponent go? But
well, we are joined by our restreamer, Auska424. Has been notoriously rolling Rude Seeds, most of them being hook routes. And we also have our tracker, X Pancras.
And it looks like our runners are getting started, so we have a telestart. Let's see who is joining our tele today. That's Iridia, and
that's a D-Mist
is in the castle, so no D-Mist time today, just an Hourglass 3 as the item reward. That is a useful item, but won't let our runners make any progress.
Yeah, that's gonna really limit them, especially with this combo. Iridia needs a little bit of time to get started up. Tella needs a trip to Ordeals to get really useful. We're probably gonna see a lot of free character checks here starting off.
Yeah, this team does not do well for early damage. Tella's nice as a starting character because it's nice to have that free source of exit, but without some other characters to get some damage going for this team, this is not looking like a great start.
We do have the T Wildish flag on, so I could see some early looting going on, trying to find some decent gear, trying to find some characters as both of our runners heading to the Watery Pass.
Yeah. Since we're on T Wildish, the Watery Pass, which is a fairly out-of-the-way area, there's not much here. There's no key item checks. There's a character check in the first room, but nothing else. And that's another Tella.
Ooh. Not when you want to see this early. Vanilla, as chat pointing out, this is a vanilla location for Tella.
It is indeed. But I actually don't mind having a Tella coming through here because if you have a Tella, it makes it a lot more tempting to walk all the way through this Watery Pass and grab all of the good loot in here and then exit out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they go the full route or if they just dip out to go find extra characters. It looks like they're probably going to go deeper. We've seen a lot of good items coming from deep and watery paths. Just the last race I tracked, there was a couple of ninja swords hanging out.
Yeah, and as you say that, they pick up that rune ring. That's a really nice piece of anti-mage gear, and it will give +3 to both wisdom and will, so it's a very nice piece of caster gear early on.
And the anti-mage really helps out with like the mad ogres, who you wouldn't think are considered mages, but in this game they are.
Yeah, not only that, but it protects against a number of bosses. Asura's physical attacks won't hurt as hard. The Dark Elf Dragon Form's punches.
Baron guards.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of bosses that the Rune Ring will really help against.
Both heading all the way through this watery pass, trying to get as much as they can, knowing that they're going to need some gear to get this party going. Ooh, that's going to fund your adventures right there. The crystal armor.
Yeah, that is a really nice piece of armor for Cecil. It has a lot of defense, but a lot of runners don't like it because it grants immunity to the Berserk status, and what do you want to do with a Cecil with a good weapon? You probably want to Berserk him.
With the one exception of if you're using the Avenger, that will actually still Berserk that Cecil.
That's a fair point, but with the crystal armor selling for so much money, and there's plenty of other potential armor options available for Cecil, I don't see either runner holding on to it for too long unless they find a Cecil very early.
Now, we're talking about Cecil a lot, but one of the flags we have on for Highway to the Threemus Zone is the vanilla agility. So that means that any Cecil in the party will be the party's agility anchor. Now, if there's 2 Cecils, then it would be the Cecil with the highest priority. I don't know either of these 2 runners' feelings on Cecil, let alone second Cecil, so...
Yeah, Cecil can be a very divisive character to take. Some people love Cecil, some people will avoid Cecil at all costs. I'm personally someone who can go either way. I like 2 Cecils. I don't like 1 Cecil. No Cecils is fine.
Porum hanging out at the top of Dempsey, and chat's also pointing out Dancing Dagger was found. That's going to really speed up getting Rydia going. She can use that as an item, and it hits pretty hard in this early game.
Yeah, Dancing Dagger will definitely be a huge boost for Rydia's early damage, and that's probably the best damage they have at this point, with 2 Tellas, a Porum, and a Rydia. The Porum is nice, because it's nice to have a white mage, but not sure if that's the white mage the runners would prefer.
A lot of people consider Porum the lesser of the 2 true white mages. I'm just happy with a white mage myself. That's another Tella.
Yeah. And there's our Cecil. This is looking like a party you definitely want to be doing ordeals. And it looks like we get Indra as the summon from Mount Hobbs. That's about the equivalent of a Lit 2 spell. It's nice. It's another option, but it's not particularly amazing.
Yeah, it has its uses, but as you said, it's still going to take 30 MP. Not really the oomph you want to see for that amount of MP.
Yeah, it's certainly better than some of the other summons she could get, but it's not the best. It's far from the best summon you can find.
There's a Sid being guarded by Octomammoth at the top of Hobbs here, and it looks like Gambit is gearing up to take on that octopus.
Yeah, Sid is a great character early on. He starts at level 20, which is higher than anyone else, I believe, that we're going to find, except for Edge and Tella. But he starts with a lot of HP, he's very physically tanky, and he's going to bring this party the much-needed physical damage that it's sorely lacking.
I'm a fan of early Sid myself. I struggle with my early game when I play Free Enterprise, so getting that Sid with a party like this is really gonna help this team get through some rude fights. Even this Octomammoth fight will be a lot easier with Sid swinging his hammer.
Yeah, And we see now Leggy coming over to Mount Hobbs to join Gambit. Just a little bit behind from doing those Mysidia character checks, but...
And I wouldn't be surprised to see Gambit skip that spot anyway. He's going to be heading down there with all the Tellas that he's got.
Yeah, Gambit is probably going to be looking for someone to replace at least one of those Tellas.
And Leggy didn't even hesitate, saw who it was, and ran right over.
Yeah,
bye-bye, one Tella.
Yep, getting rid of that dupe Tella. Because Tella is a great utility mage. However, his utility doesn't really multiply when you get more than one of him. Because he's not about having access to good damage, he's mostly about having access to abilities. And if you have the access to the abilities from one Tella, you don't really need the access to those spells from a second Tella.
So yeah, they say second Cecil is the way to go. Second Tella is definitely not the way to go.
Yeah. Looks like Gambit is diving into Antlion, going to leave those Mysidia characters behind for a little bit.
I don't hate this play. You're here in the area. You don't want to fly to Mysidia and then have to fly back. Unless your plan was to fade Antlion, this is a good time to do this. It's going to get that Radius some XP to maybe use that Indra spell. And then also, you don't have any key items, so you don't have any direction yet. And you're not going to get much for your key item finding than Antlion as another crystal armor.
And a fire armor from that chest. That's not worth as much money as the crystal armor, but the fire armor is still a decent amount of money, and with the amount of pieces of heavy armor that are better than that fire armor, that can be a thing that runners will sell as well, hoping to find ice armor, diamond armor, or dragoon armor.
Yeah, and until you find those things, Sid can use it. I mean, it's going to be better than that prisoner armor.
Yeah, fire armor is definitely better than nothing.
See who we got here at the bottom of the Antlion, and it's the Magma Sisters. If this would be the spot, I would be wanting to roll that Indra out.
Yeah, looks like Gambit knocking down one of his Tellas to be an anchor, potentially.
Yeah, if that's going to be the Tella that he keeps, it makes sense. But Magma Sisters, the magic power here is not high, but with how low the party is, those spells can still hit pretty hard. I'd want to just get these girls down as fast as possible. As Leggy is also starting her dive down into the Antlion Cave as well, falling right behind Gambit.
Yeah, I don't expect either of these runners, having picked up that Sid, to have any trouble with this Magma Sisters fight. Tella trying to charm Sid, but the Magma Sisters were kind to the party.
Yeah, not a very rude fight. Gambit did it pretty well, getting that Tella down right off the start too, and is rewarded with a pan.
That's a really nice find on the overworld. It's not underground access, but it guarantees you that you won't have to triple dip Fabul. And
yeah,
you'll be able to make one walk through the Sylph Cave as opposed to two.
Yeah, at most one or two trips, depending on if your underground access is with the King of Fabul, and then as you said, just one more trip into the Sylph Cave, and you don't have to go back. Chat asking, Tella charmed someone while charmed. Which team? They will be on the team that charmed Tella.
Yeah, Gambit now going back to Mysidia to get those two character checks. Now seeing that third Tella and Cecil resetting out, does not want these characters.
That's a good play. He knows that Cecil's there. He finds another one, say on Ordeals. He hasn't checked Baron in yet. He can always come back and pick up that second Cecil if he starts finding some Holy Swords and wants that Cecil anchor.
Yeah, definitely a heads up play by Gambit. I mean, you're not going to want the third Tela for anything. So you may as well leave the Cecil behind. And finds a second Rydia up on Mount Ordeals.
Yeah, I would. With the party you've got, Rydia doesn't really boost you up all that much going up Ordeals, but neither does Tela. So you could, take down that second Rydia, maybe slingshot her later.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense to swap out one of those Telas for Rydia. Leggy is through that antlion, the Mega Sisters fight in the antlion cave. Has her Pam, and we'll be seeing where she heads next. Meanwhile, we find the Kaipo guards at the first spot of Ordeals.
Not a spot I want to find them. This fight, for those who don't know, is a free fight. You only need to kill either the 3 front soldiers to make the officer run away, or kill the officer and the 3 soldiers will start to kill each other.
Yeah, but at a spot with as low stats as this spot, it's just, this is not the fight you want to see here. You want to see something a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, you want that Kaipo guards fight on the moon, where you got a coffin in your inventory, get that free XP that way, get a life glitch. But Gambit through that with the Boreas.
And we get another free fight on the back attack. Ordeals is just completely free.
Ordeals is saying, hey, we gave you, or the seat said we gave you 3 Telas. We're going to give you a free path to get them upgraded.
I mean, there could still be rudeness in the crystal room, but at this point, the back attack spot being the hardest spot on Ordeals, with King Queen Eblon here, they'll cast some fire spells at you that won't do that much damage. Nothing really to be afraid of here. And meanwhile, Leggystarscream's in the Ghoul, I believe, with taking on a Plague.
Ooh, it missed the Star Veil to try and reflect that count back. Now she's got a race against this timer and either knock somebody down or get Plague dead.
Ooh, yeah, and with that hit from Sid, not taking out that Porum.
What does that Porum have on her? I know she's in the back row, but...
I mean, she's doing a lot of damage.
Yeah. If she could get one more arrow off before this count. Nope.
Ooh.
Saved at least, so Leggy will know what she's walking into now. Might be able to just get some better actions, maybe a little bit better RNG on that. Yeah, that Porum was not taking any damage though.
Yeah.
Gambit through King Queen Eblin though.
And there's our underground access. That's a Magma key.
No hook route tonight.
And another free fight on Ordeals.
To be fair, at this spot, a lot of fights are free, but even more so here.
Yeah, it's... Bahamut is not a boss. I mean, it's... You don't hate seeing Bahamut here, but also Bahamut is a boss that can be very free later in the seed.
Noticing though, look at the damage output. A lot of sub 100s. This spot has 1,000 health. And there's Indra helping even things out.
Yeah, gets through that Bahamut. It looks like he's gotten through Plague without too much issue as well on her second attempt.
And she doesn't know the free fights ahead of her. She's going to be a little bit more powered up, but now she's got a couple more levels, probably feeling a little bit more confident to take on Ordeals.
Yeah, so, and gets a Bahamut summon. That is going to be amazing for that Rydia. And will probably encourage her to stake that second Rydia when she finds it on Ordeals.
Yeah, that's gonna be a no-brain decision. I feel like once Leggy starts making the trip up there. If you're Gambit, do you go do Baron in right now, or do you go underground, get that pan check knocked out, do Fey March?
I'm always a fan of checking your freebies first, especially since you're not looking for a pan to potentially make the Sylph dive and the Sheila checks faster. I would say go right underground, check that free Fey March key item, maybe peek the bosses, and then check that pan, check those Sheila checks, because Sheila always has the goods.
That she does. And then, as Gambit is dropping the key in, as Leggystarscream is greeted with the news that she can have double Bahamut.
But turning it down, looks like she's kept to Cecil instead of Gambit's Tella that he had coming up here, so she's probably looking to get that Paladin Cecil powered up and either use him with a good sword or keep him as an anchor.
It's not a bad move. I mean, it's gonna speed you through the game a lot faster, but maybe Leggy is thinking more Zeromus. We don't typically use Bahamut on Zeromus fights.
Fair enough. Plus with that crystal armor, she might be thinking about potentially needing to use cover straps against a rude boss in, say, the Fey March or on the Moon. And
yeah.
Even without any decent weapon, Cecil can be a pretty good tank.
Yeah, there's a number of bosses that can show up in the Fey March where a back row Cecil with crystal armor will just make it laughably easier. Gambit heading down to bonk Yang on the head with the pan as we see the King of Dragons come out.
Bahamut should take care of everything at this spot, so like he is going to get a little bit more experience from killing that officer in the back.
Leggy's Porum got Berserk. That's going to be useful later. 2 Berserkers, in case we don't find any Bacchus wine.
And a crystal sword waiting from the Sylphs. Leggy is going to be so happy to see that, and I imagine Gambit will head back to Mysidia and pick up that Cecil. Yeah, we see Gambit heading right back to Mysidia, going to go trade probably that second Tella, going to go trade someone for this Cecil.
I wouldn't be surprised if Gambit doesn't toss that Sid now.
Yeah, I would say either toss that Sid or one of the Rydias.
And Leggy didn't have enough MP to do another Bahamut, so we saw Indra come out. And there went one of the Rydias. Chat pointing out, Gambit doesn't know about Bahamut yet. Came right to Mysidia instead of going to Fabul.
Yeah, so Gambit doesn't know that Rydia will have access to Bahamut super early. Makes sense to drop one of her. Still has one around, so still probably won't be too disappointed when he sees that Bahamut. But definitely more important, I think, in his mind to get that Crystal Sword Cecil online.
As Leggy doing some inventory management, getting things squared away, as Gambit has a crystal sword wielding Cecil.
Yeah. Crystal Sword Cecil can really get you around a lot of the agility constraints that come with taking a Cecil. So with a worse weapon, a lot of runners will not take Cecil just because they don't want to hit him. He's a relatively fast character, and generally, as you get later into the game, you want to have a slower agility anchor. But with a Crystal Sword, there's only a few cases where a boss can be particularly rude to require a better agility situation.
Yeah, and we've already seen, we know where the Threemus is. That's one boss where the Crystal Sword is kind of a hindrance. I mean, you still like it because it still has great attack power. And Octomammoth. So both of those are wholly resistant bosses that the Crystal Sword takes half damage for, but since they're in pretty easy to deal with spots, I don't think Gambit or Leggy will have any issues with those Crystal Sword wielding Cecils.
Yeah, I think the only thing that could really be rude is a rude Wyvern or rude Ogopogo at certain spots, just because if those bosses are too fast, they might have some difficulties getting their Cecil to be slow enough that their other characters can get a turn. Then again, if Cecil is fast enough, it doesn't really matter.
And we still have a number of character checks left. We could find another Cecil in Dwarf Castle, Tower of Zot.
Yeah, there's still definitely potential for a second Cecil in this seed.
Sheila 1 given a spoon. And the Darkness Crystal.
Wow, there's that completely wide open seed that you were hoping for.
This is interesting, and the reason I like this is because there's a couple different ways you can play this. With the group you have, you can go grind. It will take a little while, but then everything is free the rest of the seed. Or you could go and work on getting 10 key items.
Yeah. With Kella and the Darkness Crystal, you could very well make the play to go to the Giant, do a D-Machine grind, and get all your levels now, but with how many checks are still available that could give additional key items, I haven't seen it be super incentivized, especially since there's likely to be sirens in a shop somewhere.
Yeah, and we do have the E can't run flag on, so you do have to do the new manipulation, which can take time, or if you're like me and you can't seem to count, it could take a little while to get even the grind fight that you want.
Yeah, although it looks like Gambit stocking up on Ether 2s, maybe considering doing that D-Machine grind.
As Leggy is heading down, gonna do some shopping, hitting Tomra. Maybe we will see who the job dwarf is.
A motel desk clerk today.
I was wondering if she was just gonna beeline out after talking to the other one.
Yeah, it did kind of look like it, but no, it looks like she was specifically looking for that job dwarf. It's always nice to see our seeds validated.
For those who don't know, the job dwarf there, his text is randomized for every seed. I don't know how many different jobs that job dwarf has, but I've not seen very many duplicates.
Yeah, there are a lot of jobs in that job dwarf's pool. Gambit is raising the whale, so I don't believe I've seen any D-Machine manip from him, so he might be going to check the character.
That's not a bad play, especially if you are thinking grind. You want to see maybe it's an edge, maybe it's another Cecil that you would want to, save for later. It's not a terrible play as Gambit resets.
Looks like it's doing the manip outside of Nasidia.
I have not. I've usually seen this out of air just because the fights are a lot quicker. It doesn't affect the manipulation as far as I'm aware, but the fights are a little harder than they are in Baron when you can just Thor Rage them all down.
Yeah. Leggy diving the Sylph Cave. We'll get the good news about her crystal sword very soon. Right after that reset, after checking that trap chest.
Yeah, Gambit's still working on it. I didn't count how many steps Gambit's on. Like I said, I can't even count my own steps, so... Leggy about to be jumping for joy here.
And it looks like Leggy is heading down to check that Feymarch freebie, while Gambit is heading to the Giant of Babel to go get his grind started. To answer a question in chat, darkness came from Sheila 2. And the pan was from Antlion, so they both have it. Leggy just choosing to check the Feymarch freebie before heading back up to talk to Sheila. And gets the Adamant. That is spicy. That's one half of that first objective. And on a seed with this many key item hunts, I would not be surprised if Forge ends up being one of the objectives that our runners complete, especially still needing both the hook and the rat tail for that third objective. Also finding Bacchus's down in Feymarch.
Yeah, Leggy getting her freebies, making sure doesn't want to miss anything, wants to know what she's up against in case Feymarch is required. I don't think we've seen her go down there yet.
We have not seen either of the bosses yet. It looks like she's about to do that, but the Feymarch freebie was the Adamant, which is very spicy. Both of our runners have a crystal sword on that Cecil, given by the Sylphs.
Vigan and Leviathan there in the bottom of the Feymarch.
That is not free.
Definitely not free. Not something I would want to be doing right now or anytime soon.
Looks like he's healing up, maybe considering taking one of these bosses.
The magic power I don't think is that high on that Asura spot. Oh! Does Leggy have the crystal armor on Cecil? In the back row?
Yes, I believe Cecil's in the front row, so would take a bit of damage. Maybe resetting out right out of that Baigen fight and exiting out. Maybe having a little difficulty telling Baigen apart from the Baron Guard's sprite, because they're very similar sprites, it's just a color palette swap, so. Because the Baron Guards would be relatively free there.
Yeah, Baron Guards would be really nice there. And if Leggy had a couple of Star Veils, that Leviathan fight wouldn't have been that bad.
Yeah, Leviathan at Asura is not as nice as vanilla Leviathan, but still probably not a terrible fight. Although, probably would want to come back with a few more levels.
Yeah, it would be a long fight, but it's definitely doable. But there are definitely better fights to be taking at this time. I would do Dwarf Castle.
I mean, I would do Baron Inn. Neither runner has been there yet.
Leggy going to finish turning it and has already finished turning in the pan, right?
Has not turned in the pan yet. Went down to check the Feymarch freebie. She went down to check the Feymarch freebie before turning in the pan. Is probably stopping by Silvera to do some shopping on her way back to Fabul. So we'll see what she does with the info of with the darkness crystal there.
As Gambit is still chipping away at dragons, I've again showing my complete lack of being able to count anything. I have no idea how many dragons Gambit is into right now.
I haven't even been trying to keep count.
At least 3, because Tella was out of MP.
That sounds about right.
Question in chat, if Gambit's going to go take those Feymarch fights or the moon, there's a couple of different ideals about that. All your objectives are here on Earth. You would hope to get some of those items on Earth to be able to go do them. A lot of people say the moon's haunted too.
Yeah. I mean, the moon has a lot of checks up there, much more than the Feymarch does, and he might head to the moon to take advantage of the levels, because the moon tends to require higher levels than other places, and no one has found any of the key items. Gambit hasn't found any of the key items he needs for Go mode. Leggy's found the Adamant, but it's very likely that there's something on the moon. A question in chat, what does it mean when the moon is haunted? We say the moon is haunted when the moon is not required to complete the seed, when there's nothing up there that is progression, and you don't need to go there at all.
So while we know there are going to be a couple of key items up on the moon, they can be something like the package and the Sand Ruby, which is not progression. They do unlock characters for our runners, but they're not going to help them complete their objectives.
Looks like Leggy had to take a moment to think about what she wanted to do.
I don't blame her in that. That is, she's got a lot of options ahead of her, and probably going to do some more shopping while she collects her thoughts and comes up with her next plan.
Well, neither of our runners have checked Baron in yet. They've done most of the overworld and the pan. But neither of them have checked Baron in, neither of them have checked Dwarf.
Yeah, it's interesting that both of them have faded it this long, considering that the boss is there. It's 3,000, 4,000 HP on that second fight. First one's 400. It's a lot of information, especially with another character there.
Actually, both of our runners know where Demist is. Demist handed us our starting key item, so we know Demist is at the Beigen spot. Just answering a point in chat.
And Leggy looks to be setting up.
Looks like Leggy might be heading in to take that Baron in.
How do you feel if you get that Cecil and you finally get to put that crystal sword on?
I feel amazing. Crystal Sword Cecil will just carry the seed unless there's a particularly rude boss, but there's only a couple bosses that can really punish you.
As we find the D-Lunars guarding Iridia here in the Baron Inn.
Yeah, this fight, these D-Lunars will not last long. This spot, only having 400 HP split between the two of them, they should each go down to a single Cure 2 potion.
Someone in chat wanting to be really mean, wanting Rat Tail in the Baron Trash, Hook in the Basement Throne, and Rydia's mom with the Twin Harp. Everything gated by Baron Key.
Well, I guess if everything's gated by Baron Key, we could have that Rat Tail turn and be the Legend Sword. Ooh, this is a spicy Dark Knight Cecil.
So, you know how I said earlier that the Baron Inn fight was not that bad? The seed just proved me wrong.
Well, this isn't so bad. It's not doing so much damage. Cecil and Sid are able to survive this just fine, and since this spot gives no experience, there's no harm in leaving party members down. And it looks like they're both going to survive through this third wave and listen to Cecil's speech.
A question in chat asking how many dragons Gambit's going to kill. Without 10 key items, which gives double the XP, and Rydia being where she was, she's probably trying to get her as close to Nuke as possible. As our tracker, X Pancras is pointing out, 12 with 12 life glitches.
And Leggy gets more value out of the Baron Inn. That is the hook. That opens up the Cave Eblon shop, which is a very good gated shop on these flags.
Another character check as well.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll see her walk all the way down to check that character, but
it looks like I admit she took the extra Rydia.
Yeah, I mean, with that double Bahamut, probably thinking Sid is not going to be that as useful as a second Bahamut caster. And looks like Leggy's made the decision to stay on the blue planet for now. Going to check that dwarf castle, it looks like. With Tella and that Rydia that's been in the party for a little while, both having access to warp, we'll be able to get that, use the warp glitch to get the item out of the sealed cave.
So with the warp glitch on, in the vanilla game, when you complete this section, if you should have warp, considering how early Rydia learns it. You can use it while in the Dwarven throne room and come back into this room. Now, because the Sealed Caves crystal room and the Dwarf Castle crystal room share a room, it repopulates the room with the Darkness crystal in the vanilla game, and you can just sequence skip a whole bunch of the game. Since we randomize everything, that's not going to be a Darkness crystal.
Ooh, looks like Leggy was trying to set up that level 1 Rydia for a slingshot, but was out of arrows on that Porum, and so we got to see Porum punch Rydia for 1 damage.
We have Dr. Luge, who is a very talkative doctor.
Yeah, but with this Indra summon from the overworld, probably won't be too difficult at this spot. Just a little bit of a long fight with all the dialogue.
Here's the second round with Dr. Luge. Vanilla game, he likes to dance around and talk, and here he's just gonna talk and transform. And that crystal sword.
Yeah. Thank you, RPG Limit Break, for the raid. Welcome, people from the RPG Limit Break match that just wrapped up. We had a very interesting start to the seed with a Pan early Magma key on the overworld and Darkness at Sheila 2. So the whole seed has just been wide open.
Yeah, and we've also got a Crystal Sword Cecil on both sides. Rydia has Bahamut. We've seen a number of free bosses already with the Kaipo guards, the King Queen, Bahamut, and we know the Demist was in the Bagan spot to start us off. As Gambit has been working on his D-Machine grind for a while now, he should be wrapping up here soon. He bought a full stack of Ether 2s. Leggy has been continuing overworld checks, trying to get more key items.
And I'd say so far it's been working out for her, finding the Adamant in the Feymarch freebie and the hook from Baron Inn, which Gambit has not checked yet. Gets through that Dr. Luge fight, we'll see who's in the second spot in Dwarf Castle.
Ooh, the Dark Elf. Hello, Dark Elf. I'd like for you to meet this Crystal Sword.
Yeah, Dark Elf being weak to Holy... Lucky, probably not going to take this Sid, having just dismissed a Sid for that second Rydia. I don't imagine this Dark Elf putting up much of a threat. This spot has very little health, very low magic, and Dark Elf is weak to Cecil. And looks like Gambit has wrapped up his grind. I did see a nuke on that Rydia, so Gambit should be set to take on anything else that he runs into this seed.
Yeah, and not worrying about killing off the Tella, knowing that he's got the Cecil Anchor that he'll have to deal with anyway. I saw Nuke, I saw 36 levels for Porum, she's fully online.
Yeah. Although Gambit has taken a bit of time to get all these levels, he will be clearing checks much faster than Leggy.
And hopefully he'll be finding another Cecil to be his anchor, which would replace that Tella, and then it will be pretty smooth sailing, I think, for Gambit in terms of bosses and checks. Leggy's cleaning up the Dwarf Castle, done with the Dark Elf, and see what her reward is.
Looks like she's going to do the warp glitch to get the item from the sealed cave first, which is the rat tail.
Wow.
That's an objective already. Every single one of these checks on the blue planet having value.
Yeah, everything's paying off for Leggy right now. We'll be able to immediately turn in that rat tail and gets the twin heart
from the king. Leggy is Baron Key or Legend Sword away from go mode. But it looks like Gambit is coming back to the blue planet. Looks like he's going to be taking on that dwarf castle check, so he should get his twin harp and his rat tail.
How long does Gambit fade that Baronet?
That's a good question.
Can't turn in the rat tail until he gets that hook. Now, and he hasn't been down the Fey March. That's where the Adamant was, I believe.
Yeah, so he has not checked the Fey March freebie, so doesn't know about the Adamant there. Hasn't seen the bosses. Although I think with his levels, I would consider checking the Fey March relatively early, since he's already underground.
Yeah, and when he does go down to the Fey March, he's going to be looking at those bosses and be like, yeah, we'll take care of this. And Leggy getting the pigtail.
Taking care of an objective, getting an item, and just a Dragoon Spear for the Cane that we haven't seen.
Dragoon Spears still worth quite a bit of money. Not that money is really on Leggy's mind right now, probably, but might be later.
Yeah, Leggy already at 9 key items though, which is looking very good for when she eventually does her grind. Her grind will be a bit faster than Gambit's because of that double experience that you get when you hit 10 key items. And looks like is going to check this Eb1 shop. I'm probably hoping for sirens because I believe she hasn't seen those yet.
Yeah, we haven't seen sirens anywhere. The only spot besides here would be the moon.
And no sirens in Eb1.
She's probably looking at those hourglasses thinking I might need those later, though.
Yeah, hourglasses are definitely a good find. Coffins can be useful as well. So this shop, well, not this solution to her grind is definitely has some nice items in it.
And so the hourglasses enable making for Gold Dragon grind a lot smoother to deal with. Coffins can speed up your egg grind if you can find sirens and do those. And she is diving in to check this character.
Yeah, I have to imagine the character is what she's looking at here. She's not stopping to loot along the way, and we already know where D-Mist is. Looks like our 4th Rydia of the seed.
With a blue robe. We haven't seen another blue... Oh wait, we've seen Water Hag already, haven't we?
I don't think we've seen Water Hag yet.
I must be getting my seats crossed.
We've seen a lot of free bosses, but I think Water Hag is one of the ones that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, there's only 2 bosses that can be a blue robe. That's the Water Hag, and the other one is the Alt Gauntlet. Being that there was only one sprite there at that location, we can't determine yet which one that is, as both runners tag teaming the music at the same time.
Yeah, makes sense. For Leggy, it's the objective. It makes sense to check your objective first. Maybe it leads to another key item. And for Gambit, since he doesn't have that hook to turn in the rat tail, can't check that before checking this music check. Bad Karma, do you want to explain why our chat is getting all these emotes out and just looking so excited for this check.
I mean, I see one harp that has sunglasses on. That's a little hard to explain. But normally in this spot, Edward's going to get out of the bed. He's going to pick up his harp and he's going to play some music to weaken the Dark Elf. And because we like to randomize as much as we can, we get a random tune every time Edward gets out of the bed. It is a lot of songs that are pulled from other games of the RPG genre, from pop culture, and they're all done via harp. Some of the songs are from Boardface himself, the person who created Free Enterprise, and some are has been taken over by Calm Lamity. And we're going to be shutting up here in a second so we can hear some music.
Yeah, unfortunately, both of our runners are checking music at the same time, so we'll only be hearing the music once, but as soon as we get through this cutscene and Eddie gets up, we'll be quiet and let you listen to some tunes. And as our music wraps up, that was Lena's theme from Final Fantasy V, and we did see that there was a pass from this spot.
That doesn't hurt Gambit. He did clear the fight a lot faster due to the higher levels, but not much faster, maybe about 10 seconds. Chat was pointing out, if that was the Legend Sword or the Baron Key, that would have really hurt Gambit.
Yeah, although I don't think either of our runners is too disappointed to see that pass there.
Yeah, especially with Gambit, if he can find all his key items, he doesn't have to go back to the moon.
Yeah, and it looks like he's headed for the Baron Inn now, so he should find his hook shortly. Question in chat, why is Leggy keeping Rydia dead? Leggy's likely setting up to get a slingshot on Rydia because when characters are 5 levels behind the median of the party, they get double experience. This double experience stacks with the double experience that you get from 10 key items. So it can be used to level up your characters much faster, and on a character like Rydia, who needs a lot of experience, especially if you're doing a grind like the D machines where you can get all of your experience in one fight, having a slingshot setup can shorten that grind a lot.
Yeah, and that really speeds things up. You know, Rydia's experience curve is really steep in the later levels. So being able to slingshot her into those levels will definitely speed up any grind that Leggy's going to do to get Rydia to nuke levels.
Yeah, and it looks like Leggy is setting up the Baron Manip. Only has 9 key items, which is always, I feel, the worst feeling when you're trying to grind, because you're only 1 key item away from that experience boost. Meanwhile, Gambit turning in the rat tail to take care of that objective and getting the pink tail turn in for the Dragoon Spear.
Yeah, Leggy's setting up that manip. Gambit's going to be doing some more checks. Probably going to head down to that Fey March.
I mean, at this point, I think the options are either Fey March and clear the rest of the underground, or head up to the moon, and I think if he was going to head up to the moon, he would have headed up right away after that D machine. Or, yeah, so looks like he's going to do some shopping in Tomra first, and check Job Dwarf. Good to see that both of our runners have validated their seeds. Not even shopping, actually, just
ran in to validate.
Yeah, truly a man of the people. Did nothing else in that town, just checked Job Dwarf for us.
Leggy has her manip set up as Gambit is heading back into the Fey March.
Yeah, Gambit getting the news that the Adamant was just sitting in the Fey March the whole time.
And we have both runners are still 1 key item away. Gambit is going to get 2 checks knocked out here soon.
And meanwhile, Leggy is getting her grind started. Is in the giant. Just has to walk a few screens. May stop this grind early, as she may just be looking to get that Rydia that she has the slingshot set up on up to nuke.
Now, neither of these bosses will pose a threat to Gambit with these levels. Who do you tackle first?
I would honestly tackle the Leviathan first. Baigen, even with all these levels, is still very punchy. And if you don't take out his arms, he's going to be hitting multiple times per turn, especially with that vanilla agility Cecil. Baigen punching for 1500 damage. Almost taking out that teller in one swing. Ooh, and it looks like Gambit tried to zerk up that Cecil, but Cecil's wearing crystal armor. And the downside of crystal armor is that he can't be berserked.
Yeah, and as you're pointing out, Baigen is punching everything. He took down that Cecil with crystal armor.
Yeah.
Oh, he took it off.
He did take it off? You don't usually see a Berserk Mist in Porum.
Chat thinking maybe it went over to Pygon's arm.
And it looks like Leggy is heading to the Hemingway shop. I'm gonna check, and we have no sirens this seed.
That's really going to help Gambit. Sirens would have helped Leggy really catch up unless she's planning to just grind on some moon bosses, which, with her party, that's not a terrible idea if she can get her 10th key item.
Yeah, the moon bosses can be a great source of XP, especially if you get that 10th key item, but with so many of the free bosses already off the table, it's not very likely that we find something free up here. Though finding a second Rydia that she could slingshot off of a D machine.
I think she still has one Rydia. Nope.
Looks like she's not going to D machine, dismissing that Tela for this third Rydia. And Gambit just getting a package from that Pygon fight, so no value there.
So, I feel like Gambit's options are obviously this Leviathan fight, Keyless Tower. If both of those are a bust, Leggy's going to have the advantage.
Well, Leggy's going to have the advantage if she can get through one of these moon bosses, which it depends. So, some of these moon bosses might be free enough that she can take them, but there are a lot of really rude bosses that she might be bouncing off of.
Yeah, in tackling the Murasame Altar going top down here, I would have went down to the bottom myself just to get that 2 key item check off the Ribbon Altar, but I could also understand wanting to have 10 key items before doing that.
Yeah, I would. In my opinion, I tend to find that if I'm going to the moon underleveled, I like to head top down, just because I like to see if I can get through this Murasame fight, which I tend to find is a little bit easier than the spots further down the moon.
And Elements here is actually a really decent spot as she resets.
Yeah, that Mylon form of Elements is going to punch really hard, and relying on healing the elements off of a Star Veil might not work out as well. And we get our third set of crystal armor from that Leviathan.
Oh, that is not what you want to see if you're Gambit.
Yeah. It's more money at this point, but after doing a D machine, he's probably good on money for a while. No one has checked Keyless Tower, so it looks like Gambit is going to go make the Keyless Tower play before heading up to the moon.
Dropping a save here at the bottom in case it's nothing.
And it looks like Leggy is going to take some random encounters on the moon to get some experience.
Never a bad play for random encounters if you can handle them.
And
there are some spots where you can still get the gold dragons as a random encounter, and with these hourglasses, she would be able to make short work of them.
Yeah, using these hourglasses, trying to get as much experience as possible out of them.
There's the Baron guards at the top of the tower. A fight that Leggy was probably hoping to find on the moon. We know she will not be finding it.
Yeah, at this point, I think the only free boss we haven't seen is, at this point, is Water Hag, which there's a 50-50 chance that that Water Hag is sitting at the lubricant spot and won't be appearing in this seed.
Tella landed the stone.
And gets a vanilla tower key. That is spicy.
Dathis.
Oh my gosh. So there's no way to come in here with the tower key. You've got to make the gamble for this keyless tower, but we'll see what happens after doing this super cannon run. And it looks like our friend with the leg is manning the super cannon.
Once you see the leg, it's gone. So, even with the D Machine grind, depending on what Gambit gets out of here, do you think he's going to feel behind if it's not Baron or Legend?
I mean, I would think so. I think if you put the time into clearing the underground, I mean, you did find a lot of value down here with Dwarf Castle and the Baron Inn, but you could think that your opponent may have checked those spots and faded those Fame Arch fights and this keyless tower. And went straight to the moon. So I don't know where I would be feeling.
Yeah, with chat, we have seen 5 Rydias, and we've seen 3 Tellas.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And just a Masamune from the tower. That is money, but not what Gambit wants to see at this point. So, Moon is not haunted this seed. Moon is required.
Yeah, so Leggy took a couple of fights. I didn't see what her levels were at.
Yeah, I didn't see what her level's at either, but it looks like...
Upper 20s. Depending on who she finds. There's a couple of boss fights at these spots that are still doable even with those levels. She has a Crystal Sword Cecil. She has Berserk Vaporum. This isn't, a game breaker for her, as Gambit is heading through cave value.
Ooh, and that's a Val at the Ribbon Room. That is really rude for Leggy's party. At least that's right out. Meanwhile, we have Mylon Z at Cave Bahamut. This is going to be a lot freer for this party. Because Mylon Z will hit hard, but Crystal Sword Cecil will also hit hard.
Yeah, that Val is really going to hinder things. Oh.
Ooh, and a wyvern at the plague spot. Oof.
So again, the seed, calling bad karma out here. As I say, there's a number of bosses she could take here. Those are 2 bosses you do not want to ever see there.
Yeah. Especially with that vanilla agility. That wyvern is going to be rough. And a vanilla Ogopogo.
I don't know how I feel about this one.
Yeah, with only Cure 2. Yeah, noping out of that as well.
Gambit only found a black shirt off that Mylon Z fight.
Yeah, so even though Cave Bahamut is nice and easy, it's not valued.
Trying to think of who could be at this wyvern spot for Leggy to get through.
Yeah, there really aren't that many free bosses left.
Golbez would be a free fight here.
Golbez would not be bad at this spot.
The magic's low here. Golbez is pretty free at this spot.
It would be long, but I think Leggy would take it given how rude that bottom of the moon was.
Pale Dim is doable here. She's just got to get blinks up.
Yeah, Pale Dim not gonna hurt too badly, but you're gonna want those blinks up ASAP.
And honestly, if she resets and maybe moves Cecil to the back row, Skylarky, there's been 5.
Leggy's Porum does not have float. I believe her Porum is only in the upper 20s, and I think Porum learns it late 30s or 40-ish.
And she exited out.
Yep, looking like she's going to go check Cave Bahamut to see if she can get through that. Hopefully, the Mylon Z will not be as rude to her as the rest of the bosses have been.
Crystal Sword, Cecil, Bahamut. I think Leggy will make short work of this Mylon.
Yeah, given that the Crystal Sword Cecil is almost guaranteed to do quad 9s because Mylon Z is an undead boss that is also weak to Holy. The Crystal Sword does bonus damage against both undead, does damage against undead, and does Holy Element damage. Therefore, Mylon Z takes a ridiculous amount of extra damage from the Crystal Sword.
Yeah, not uncommon to see quad 9s here.
Yeah, and just an Artemis bow behind those elements. So at this point, either Wyvern, Val, Ogo, or that Pale Dim is required.
This is, I don't think any of those fights will really be all that rude for Gambit. He's just got to get down to him, but it will buy Leggy a little bit of time to catch up.
To answer Zolta's question in chat, Demist is in the Vigan spot. we saw Threemus give our runners their starting Hourglass 3 at the very beginning of the seed.
Yeah, as Leggy is
Trying to use Titan on Mylon Z. Fun fact, Mylon Z is a flying boss, because that's the only way the game knew how to make him immune to that Quake spell. But that comes with a whole bunch of other perks, like being weak to arrows, and being weak to spears.
and since the Earth Hammer is also coded weirdly, it's actually a fire element.
To answer the question, no, neither runner has found the Baron Key, so they don't have access to the Odin spot yet. Ooh, that Leggy Cecil taking a nap.
Not what you want to see here. Hopefully she can, I think she can get this stabilized, get some blinks out. I don't know if she has any illusions that would probably help.
Yeah, looks like she's got the blink on Cecil and Porum. Meanwhile, Gambit zerking up his Cecil and Sid against this Val. Probably won't have too difficult a time with his levels.
Gambit taking a shot at this Val. Again, with Crystal Sword Sissel will take care of this. He's just got to keep his team alive. Spells are not going to hit Valvalis. I think Bahamut is punchy enough to get through the magic defense.
I believe Bahamut will not hit Valvalis because as long as she's got good magic evade, it doesn't matter how punchy the spells are, she'll still dodge them.
Yeah.
If it were pure magic defense, Bahamut would punch through, but it doesn't get through her magic evade.
And chat pointing out magic evade is maxed at this spot, so...
As it is in most, if not all, of the lunar spots.
Leggy did get through that Mylon, gets the black shirt, is going to be exiting out with that.
Yep. Probably mostly wanting to keep this experience, and that black shirt will be nice for one of those radios. And down goes Valvalis on Gambit's side. We'll see if she was the one guarding our value. And there's go mode. Baron Key is behind that Valvalis with another Dragoon Spear.
Yep, so required Valvalis. It's not required, I guess. It could still be, the Legend Sword could still be at Pale Dam or Wyvern or Pogo.
Yeah, but having that pass, Gambit won't have to come back to the moon for any reason. We'll be able to dive straight into Baron Castle to take out that Odin spot, and then probably head straight for that Pastor in Joroya. Meanwhile, Leggy's going to make this keyless tower play. And will probably be a little bit excited to find the tower key at the top, but then probably might actually keep it because it will be her 10th key item.
it would make sense for her to just go ahead and complete the sequence. She's got to walk it out anyway. Granted, she's only going to get a Masamune, but...
Yeah, well, this won't give her progression. It will help her out in terms of getting experience on the moon. And it will give... And if she decides to go to the Fey March after this, it'll help out her levels from there as well.
Yeah, if the moon was just not every rude boss that could possibly be on the moon. Just unlucky randomization there.
Yeah, that was a very rude bottom of the lunar subterranean.
As Gambit is greeted with the D-Mist, I would expect Gambit probably just swag walks down to this Odin spot too, right after the D-Mist.
Yeah, with the levels that he's got, he's probably not afraid of anything at that Odin spot.
He will probably still take the boss on the Baron Throne just because it's a faster way out.
Well,
maybe
I don't
not.
know.
I forgot about the cutscene, yeah.
No, that cutscene is rather long, and I believe it is slightly faster if you're just going to the Odin spot to take that Odin boss and then walk all the way out of the sewer.
I always forget how slow that cutscene is.
Yeah, if you're not gonna check that Baron pot, you may as well just not fight that boss. Leggy getting through those Baron guards at the top of the tower, using some coffins to make short work of that fight. And we have an alt at this Odin spot.
Somebody in chat called that earlier.
Yeah, who? Oh my gosh, that is amazing. This is probably not going to be a threat to Gambit's party, but it's certainly a very rude fight to find here. This is going to take a lot longer than any of the other bosses would have.
Well, and granted, I don't think the clappers would really be an issue, but clappers, I think, are in this all gauntlet fight. They take half your health with one attack. So for those who don't know, the Alt Gauntlet was a recent change. It came around right before the Fable Gauntlet tournament. Instead of the normal Gauntlet fight that you see in vanilla with a bunch of monsters from around the Fable Castle area, they now pull 5 random encounters from the area that you find the Alt Gauntlet in. In this particular spot, it pulls from the Fey March.
Yeah, because this spot is meant to be taken much later in the game. Kind of being a summon quest, it kind of lines up with those Fey March bosses in terms of when you're supposed to take it. So, pulling bosses from the Baron sewers or the Baron area, or pulling enemies from that area is just way too easy. So we had to pull monsters from the Fey March.
These clappers are, that blitz takes 50% of your max health.
Yeah, but with access to Purim and a Cure 4 spell, probably not too worried about the clappers.
A comment in chat, if Leggy could get the legend, it could equalize things. We know that the legend sword is not in the underground. Gambit has cleared all of those checks.
Yeah. Getting the bad news that clappers are indeed flying and cannot be hurt by Quake, but gets through that fight nonetheless. And with just one last clapper, we should be getting through. It's not the same spot, Gauntlet, as the King and Queen's throne. It takes, I believe, either a different set of encounters from the Fame March or from a different floor. The Gauntlet here is distinct from the Gauntlet in the Fame March, and the 2 Gauntlets in the Fame March are actually distinct as well. And getting an Earth Crystal and the Crystal for completing his 3rd objective.
Ooh, do we get Rate That Treasury? I can't think of anything in the treasury that Gambit would need.
I'd be maybe looking for a Stardust Rod, but
it depends on if Gambit feels ahead or behind.
Yeah. Plus, Sid is not outfitted very well. Although, Sid is probably not the big damage dealer for this party.
Yeah, the Loot Goblin and me to go with Scala Kitty, I check it. I don't care if I feel ahead or behind, I check it.
Yeah, in my opinion, I'm checking that treasury no matter what.
Even with these flag sets, the treasury is a little diminished because it's only 60% full in a lot of cases. I still check it.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much good stuff that could be in there.
As Marilyn Key pointed out, there was an Artemis bow on that Murasame altar. Oh, and he's like chocoboing over there.
Taking the black chocobo from the barren chocobo forest over to Toroya.
I think he's gonna go straight in.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's going to be checking that treasury. Looks like just hadn't set Sid up with the Samurai Bow and the Arty Arrows. So Sid should be doing much better damage than we've been seeing out of him for this Z fight.
I hadn't realized that he didn't really have a lot of strength enhancing gear. I would probably be checking that treasury if I was him, just to make things a little smoother.
Yeah, but with his levels and that Crystal Sword Cecil, he probably feels like he might be a little bit behind and just wants to go.
Chat pointing out no life potions. Oh, there they are. Never mind.
Now, Mad Karma, I'm seeing some flags coming out in chat with this weird Z on them, is it?
This is my bedtime, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit tired. I don't know.
I think they want us to ask a question though.
But what could that question be?
I'm not sure, but I'm sure we could probably figure it out.
I think it starts with whose butt are we
going to kick, or?
And that sounds right.
I think between the two of us, we may have most of this.
Yeah, I guess the only missing part is when we're kicking it. So tonight.
I personally think we should kick that butt tomorrow morning. Let's keep this race going all night, and let's kick it tomorrow.
Nah, I like sleep. But in all seriousness, we got tired of seeing the same Zeroma sprite at the end of every seed, because we can't go and move Zeromus around in the regular boss pool. He's too complicated and hard to do. So we have a number of wonderful random sprites, mostly done by the wonderful Scala Kitty, that we always like to see what's here, and it's, I mean, I haven't seen a seed in a, maybe ever, that hasn't had this Z flag on.
Scala, which Lilith is this?
Yeah, I don't recognize this sprite. And not getting that nerf on that Big Bang, oof. But everyone survives.
Yeah, that looks like, based on a suggestion from chat, it looks like maybe Lilith from Final Fantasy 11. Yeah.
Yeah,
There's
Scholar confirming. This is from Final Fantasy 11.
Yeah, so there are over 450 different sprites, the majority of them done by the wonderful Scala Kitty, who I have not seen a bad sprite yet. Kudos to you as always, Scala Kitty.
And with that second Big Bang, Rydia's taken a nap.
This, that's Cecil. He's gotta be level 60 by now, right?
I believe so. I believe he's 60 or 61.
That is one fast Threemus.
Now, Sid, not doing a whole lot of damage, doesn't have a lot of strength boosting gear other than that samurai bow. I mean, Crystal Sword Cecil's great, but if you don't have a, if Porum can't stay up,
Ooh, that's a close one.
ooh, and the virus taking Porum down.
Yeah, but Gambit expected it, had the life queued up already for her.
Yeah.
Leggy is back shopping, looks like getting some more hourglasses. Board's up, party is mostly up, can handle a Big Bang now. And Zerking, Bo, Cecil, and Sid. Now, Gambit's only got 10 Artemis arrows, so with Berserk, he won't lose quantity of arrows. But with the black hole, he's going to have to constantly reserve.
Yeah. And if he runs out of arrows in this fight after a black hole, those arrows might be just gone. Although I do think he has some samurai arrows as a backup.
As Leggystarscream is heading back to the moon, we have Gambit working on this Lilith miss. A quick shout out to Auska for rolling this fantastic seed to put our runners through. Also to X Pancras for tracking, keeping us honest. And to my co-commentator, Xenocat.
Oh, thanks.
And if you've been watching this as we're getting Gambit through this fight, and you think, hey, I'd like to join in on this action, join the Free Enterprise Discord. We have a great community. We're always available to ask questions, get you started, get you going, rolling your own seeds. You can even roll these Magma and Hook Route seeds to the same flags. We have a really open and welcoming community to get you going. We're always looking for new people to get started.
Ooh, that was a fast Big Bang. Not even getting a cure up on Porum before she goes right back down. And Cecil going down too. This is not looking good on
Oh,
Gambit's
this
side.
this will be tough for Gambit to recover. And the board face AI.
Does not want that white mage up. Although he should get a decent amount of time after that nuke before the next big bang. Though it might not be enough. Oof. And that's a wipe.
Yeah, it's a wipe.
Unfortunately.
Now I think Gambit's Porm is still rocking a leather helmet and leather armor. I mean,
Yeah.
even a wizard robe somewhere. He had a rune ring. I think maybe Rydia has that.
Yeah, and I think he hadn't used a silk web to slow Zeromus down, so I think Zeromus was extra fast.
Should thinks. You think he still has that dwarf axe? Because I would be throwing that on Cecil as well. Leggy working through some fights, some random encounters, trying to get some XP to get through some of these rude moon bosses. This is the one disadvantage of a D machine grind. Cecil's level 61, and that's a lot of agility. To get Z to really manageable speeds, you want to have a multiple of 14. So Gambit's probably pretty close to the fourth multiple, which is making Zeromus extremely fast.
Yeah, I think the big concern here is that Cecil is a lot faster than any of the other characters in this party. And against a boss that's faster than you, you typically don't want to have your fastest party member as the anchor.
Tella throwing the berserk out. I mean, I am far from being an expert on agility manipulation. I just know certain little things. I've always said it's black magic, and when it comes to that black magic, I know fire one.
Yeah. Tossing this silk web with Forum, that should help a lot with this fight. We'll nerf the first big bang, so hopefully everyone except maybe that Tella will survive.
With that much help, I think Tella will survive it.
Yeah, Tella's kind of right on the edge, given his relatively low magic defense.
Leggy found a trap chest, and one of the more favorable trap chests up on the moon with the 2 red giants. Doesn't have to worry about the red giant counter on the summon here where they just explode because she has them stopped.
Yeah, it looks like she's just grinding up some experience on trap chests to get through these moon bosses. Meanwhile,
I was gonna say, gonna be able to pull some decent loot too, as we see whites being reflected. Gambit's in a lot better spot here, I think, with this round.
yeah, that silk web nerfing that first big bang and slowing this Lilith Mist down is really helpful.
Like you finding a protect ring, that's gonna be really nice to help keep her Porum up. For Chazman89, it's been 5 Rydias sighted in this season. And Bahamut was early at Fabel. Yeah, it looks like the chat pointing out that was the health refill. Xenocat, do you want to explain what the health refill is for Zeromus?
Yeah, so Zeromus has a lot of HP, so much that the SNES didn't really know how to have a number that high. So after you drain a certain amount of HP, I believe after he dips below about 15,000, he has a counter script that he'll refill his HP after a certain point, back up to the full amount of about 65,000, and then you have to deal damage all the way back down again. However, this resets his script, so if you get this at a good time in the big bangs, you can get 2 shakes in a row, which is a nice break between these big bangs. Alternatively, you can, if you do damage using only reflected spells, you can skip the refill and then only have to do about that 65,000 damage. Or as long as you don't do any direct damage after getting him down to that 15,000-ish health.
Yep, as chat pointed out, the Starveil ran out on that Rydia, and she just ate her own meat.
Yeah, that'll happen when you don't have a black hole and you get through the fight correctly. But we see rocks falling on Gambit's side. That means Threemus is below 12,000 HP. Should be done in just a couple more Cecil swings from Cecil.
Yeah, Meteo caps out its damage around 1,000. Can be dodged, as Form was doing there masterfully. And there is... We don't see a flash, but...
We don't see a flash, but there is Threemus dissolving. GG's to Gambit. Winning this match and keeping his chances alive for this Magma route.
And we are joined in the booth by Gambit. GG's. How you feeling about that seed?
That seed was a roller coaster. I mean, Asuka has a type, and that was one of her types, because that was amazing.
Did it feel really jetty early on, seeing a number, like essentially a free ordeals?
Not really. Hold on,
Were you
sorry. Yeah, that was my computer was being weird. Yeah, it didn't really feel jetty. I mean, ordeals was free, but before or going underground, doing a pan check in a Darkness Crystal, I still had no objectives done. I was not anywhere close to getting any objectives. So my thought was, okay, let's demachine. It's early. It was like 28 minutes in. I'm going to go ahead and find my ethers, go demachine, and get all the levels I need, and then we'll figure out where to go from there. And that was kind of my driving decision.
Yeah, it's a decision that definitely paid off well for you. While Leggy stayed on Earth to do checks and stuff, it did seem like it took you a bit with the D machine only having a few key items. So obviously having to go the full 12, I think. I don't know how many you did. I lost count after 3.
I know I overdid it. It's supposed to be 12 and 12. And I thought I'd only done about 10. Because I didn't have enough life potions to get the full 12. And there was a couple times I missed life glitches. So I did a couple extra. But I thought I was like 1 or 2 short. But I got nuke and white anyway. So I was like, okay, I guess I did enough. We're good.
Yeah, and it definitely paid off that you were able to catch up to Leggystarscream as she was doing her checks. And then you guys converged right at Twin Heart.
Yeah, I have to admit, it felt good going through, I believe it was Dwarf Castle with Lugae and Dark Elf. And it was literally 1 hit on each form of each boss to kill. I was like, yeah, that was a quick Dwarf Castle.
So did you feel, we were questioning, when you cleared the Fey March and you went and did Keyless Tower, got the Vanilla Tower key, and you finished that, you got that massive move at the end, did you feel behind at that point?
Yes, I felt, as soon as I got the massive mini for the tower key, I'm like, I'm behind. I was like, there's no way with that early Darkness Crystal that Leggy is probably not already on the moon, clearing checks, finding what we need, and I felt so far behind. That's why I actually did top down instead of bottom up. It's like, I'm behind, I'm going to make a gamble play, see if there's value in Value Cave. There wasn't. See if there's value in the Pale Spot. There wasn't. And then finally it's like, all right, let's dive down to the ribbon room because this is a double check. And thankfully Baron Key was there and I was able to just run immediately and chase it.
Yeah, you're correct that that's where Leggy was at that point when you were doing tower. Unfortunately, Leggy had not done any grind. It was in the upper 20s for levels, and there's a lot of rude boss fights on the moon that you didn't see. There's Vanilla Ogopogo, Wyverns at the Plague spot, and Pale Dim is at the Wyvern spot.
Ooh, that is a rough man. I thought Valvalis at the ribbon spot was rough. That is a very nasty moon. But yeah, also Bygin at Leviathan was not pretty, even with my levels. That was not a fun fight.
Yeah, Bygin is punchy there.
Yeah, and Board AI knew who to hit and was able to, take out Rydia so she couldn't quake, and then was just popping off. And so I was lucky to keep everybody up, especially considering, again, I didn't have life potions till the very end of the C. Finding those life potions in Troya before the Z fight was just a stroke of luck.
As Leggy is about to give us a new check, she was able to clear the Pale Dim at the Wyvern spot. Just a Dragon Whip.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have been watching the spoiler log, but when you see the Legend Sword, you are going to laugh. I will not spoil it, as I believe the spoiler log is probably still playing for you guys.
Yeah, it's still playing for us.
I don't know if Oscar told you, but I am going to go back after the spoiler log and give you just a reprise of the wonderful Final Fantasy V music we had today.
Wonderful.
Yeah, we since you guys got there at the exact same time, we've only had one rendition of it.
Oh.
Required Valvalis.
I saw that with a spoiler log, and I'm like, oh, Leggy, I am so sorry.
Yeah, and Leggy went with a 3 Rydia, Cecil, and Torum party.
Oh, she is not going to have fun with that Valvalis at all.
No.
Yeah.
You saw, I checked Residia, saw the Tella and the Cecil, and all honesty, that was the third Tella I'd seen, and I was thinking, oh god, not again, since I lost last week to Flanders and 3 Tellas. Yeah. I'm like, if Leggy uses 3 Tellas and I lose, I'm just done. I'm going to walk away for a while. We're good. But as soon as I got that Crystal Sword, I went beeline straight back to Residia, picked up that Cecil. I was like, there's a lot of things I can deal with. The Crystal Sword Cecil, I can care less about agility. We're just going for it.
Well, and then you had dumped one of your Rydias for that. Leggy had done Fabul and already got the Bahamut summon.
Yeah, I actually don't even think I used my Bahamut summon, since after I did Fabul, I almost immediately... I got the Darkness Crystal immediately after, just went in ground and had Rydia out to nuke anyway, so I think it just sat in my inventory the rest of the game.
We have a question from chat. How about the treasury? Were there any thoughts of dipping in there?
I don't think I opened the treasure chest after I got that Crystal Sword. I saw it was 42 chests, so I definitely did not do that much looting. I figured Crystal Sword Cecil, I had the crystal armor on him originally, then I switched it to the black belt towards the end of the sea because I wanted to be able to berserk him. And then the rest of my party, I'm like, I don't have that good equipment for, or any equipment at all, but we'll just go with what we have because we've got levels, and levels can trump equipment sometimes.
Yeah, Leggy's trying to take on the Valvalis right now. Do you have any other questions, Xenocat? I'm out of them.
I don't know, did you feel a moment of panic when you took that unfortunate wipe to Z the first time?
A little bit. I felt like, judging the times, I felt like Leggy might be right on my tail, so I was like, that's a bad wipe. I had tried to play through it just to see if I could get through, because I thought Sid and Cecil had enough levels they could possibly get through, and then nope, it just too fast. So I was able to take the quick reset, made sure the second time I got that Silk Web off, and I think that made all the difference, giving me just enough time to move things around and keep everybody up. And once I saw rocks, I knew it was over.
Yeah, once that Silk Web made all the difference in that fight.
Yeah, I mean, and with the ability with Tello with so many levels and so much HP to survive an Earth Big Bang, to cast another slow to nerf another Big Bang, and just rinse and repeat. I don't think I saw a full powered Big Bang that second fight at all. I think every Big Bang was nerfed.
Yeah, that second fight was really smooth and looked really well done.
Sorry, I thought of one more. So you're 1-1 now. You're gonna be playing next week, trying to get into one of the play-in matches for the table. How you feeling being 1-1?
Very nervous because there are a lot of other good players who are either 0-1 or 1-1 right now who are going to end up 1-1, and there are a lot of people I don't want to have to play. So I am very nervous about who I'm going to get, but all I can pretty much do is wait till the pairings come out and then put my best foot forward and see what happens, and kind of go from there.
Leggy got through that Valvalis fight really nicely.
Well done, Leggy.
Gets her Baron key, immediately cast an exit.
Yeah, I saw when I saw the pairings for this week and saw it was Leggy I was against. I felt so sad because I was like, this is the end of the line for me or Leggy. One of the two of us is going to go to 0-2 and be mathematically out this week. And Leggy is such a good runner and such a good friend, such a good member of the Restream team as it is. It's like I hated that one of us was going to go out tonight, but I'm glad that I was able to pull off the win. So Leggy, if you're watching this back, I'm sorry.
But you could have thrown it.
No, I'd never do that. No, but thank you, Bad Carver, thank you, Zini Cat, for doing the comms. Pancras for doing the tracking. Oscar for restreaming, rolling that wonderful seed. Always good when we have required music in the seed. So I will dip out and go about the rest of my night. Y'all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. Good luck next week. If you haven't done so, please give Gambit a follow. Link is to Twitch. Same with Leggy. If you haven't given Leggy a follow, please do. Both of them put on a fantastic show for us tonight. Leggy, Baron key in hand, heading to that final objective.
Yeah, probably not going to be too pleased to see that alt gauntlet, but
It'll be a good boost of experience. The alt gauntlet gives a good chunk of XP.
Yeah, I don't think she's too far from Nuke at this point, but it'll definitely be some nice experience.
Pointing out, yes, technically alt gauntlet is skippable. Leggy does not know that this demon will give her the legend sword.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't see any runner going into this and noping out of that alt gauntlet hoping that Demist has the legend sword. It's just such a long walk.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody who wouldn't be passing this opportunity up to just walk on down here and take care of it. Leggy gonna be getting the news that this is alt gauntlet. Looking at these numbers for her health, she should be able to get through this pretty easily.
Yeah, I don't foresee any problems with this alt gauntlet, especially since she has Bahamut and she has 3 people who can cast it.
Our tracker pointing out that the top Iridia has an Artemis bow still on. So that Bahamut not doing quite full damage.
Yeah. I mean, with the amount of HP these things have, the wisdom penalty that the arty bow gives is not as meaningful as the agility bonus that Rydia is getting.
XP here, definitely helping her, but I think she's still probably going to come in short of nuke.
Yeah, I don't think any of these Rydias are quite at nuke level. They just learned stone, I believe, is what I saw from 2 of those Rydias, so...
Yeah, that's what I saw.
They're going to get up to nuke.
But Leggy's Porum, while only at 1700, may get another level or 2, getting about 15,000. The Clappers give a little bit, I think 20,000. But the one difference here is Porum has a little bit better gear for Leggy than Gambit's Porum, so she'll be able to take a nuke and a big bang a little bit nicer, rocking at least a Protect Ring and I think a Tiara.
Actually, I believe Leggy's found multiple ribbons this seed, so I wouldn't be surprised if she's given Porum one of those ribbons.
Yeah. I knew it was an endgame helmet, I couldn't remember which one. And if you're like me, then all you need is a White Mage and a Cecil with Crystal Sword, and you can get through Threemus. That's how I beat Threemus in my vanilla days.
That is really all you need. Anything else is just bonus damage that makes it go faster.
Get Crystal, we'll get her Crystal. I don't think Leggy's going to have any issues with this Threemus fight.
Yeah. Yeah, well, she's not quite as high leveled as Gambit. She's still got a Crystal Sword Cecil, a Porum with great magic defense that should be able to survive. Finding out the bad news that unfortunately you can't leave through the front doors unless you liberate Baron. So, if you're just checking the Odin spot, you've got to walk all the way back out through the sewers.
Now, I've never had to walk out like this. Could she exit as soon as she gets into the sewers?
No, you cannot exit from Baron Castle, the Baron sewers.
The castle you couldn't exit from, as she answered my question. As you did.
Trying to exit from these Baron sewers, you cannot exit from these sewers. You have to walk all the way out. Still ends up being a little bit faster than taking that Baron throne and sitting through that cutscene.
Yeah, it's not a long walk, and that cutscene is explosions and slow walking.
Yeah, you go through the boss fight, which wouldn't take very long. Crystal Sword Cecil might one-shot that boss at this point. And then you have character shows up. Explosion. Wall starts collapsing. More explosions. Slow walk down to the Baron pod. It's a long cutscene. But it looks like Leggy is flying over to Toroya, probably going to go right into the sea fight, not worry about getting nuke on her Rydias.
Looks like she's going to peek the treasury, though. So we do get to play a round of Raid That Treasury.
Our favorite game show of the Highway to the Threemus Zone. Rate That Treasury. The treasury is the place with the highest tier loot in the game. So we want to see... Give us a number from 1 to 10. What do you think this treasury is going to be? I was feeling iffy about it, but then that Heron Robe showed up. And now
robe and the white robe too.
Yeah, I'm feeling a strong 6 or 7 on this one. At least.
I'd go with a 6 if we hadn't got the crystal sword from the sylph.
Yeah. The crystal sword's redundant, but that is a really powerful Zerker Rydia. Since Leggy has those arty arrows, has that arty bow. With that Heron Robe, Rydia is going to be doing some serious damage, and Porum should be perfectly safe from any big bangs.
Yeah, Porum's going to be drugging big bangs and nukes off. Fortunately, I don't think we'll be seeing that Leviathan summon used at all.
Yeah, the Leviathan summon came a little bit too late. But even with just the Heron Robe and the white shirt as the big finds there, that's really nice for this team, especially with Rydia's not having nuke yet.
And it looks like Leggy's strategy is pretty much going to be let's keep Porum and Cecil alive.
Yeah, the Rydias don't have that much HP. Probably going to Zerk up that topmost Rydia with the Heron Robe, Arty Arrows, Arty Bow just to get some extra damage in early on, but probably we're going to see several summoners taking a nap.
Cecil has a bandana and I believe a black belt key. 5,000 to 6,000 a swing is not out of reason.
Cecil is going to be doing a lot of damage here, and that Zerker Rydia is looking like a pretty good damage supplement.
Here we go. Round 3. Round 1 for Leggy. Looks like she is getting the Starvilles up. Probably going to be reflecting at least level 3 spells at Threemus to try and get some damage.
Yeah, either level 3 spells or viruses. Just because of the faster cast time on virus.
Ooh. Didn't get the silk web. Well, that's
Nope,
just.
there's the silk web.
And with this first big bang, you just need to get the spell off to nerf it. You don't or to nerf it. You don't have to do it at specific times like the later ones.
But down goes that Rydia that was charging up that lit 3.
$700 damage to that Porum.
Looks like his casting with that Heron Robe Arty Bow Rydia.
Yeah, I have her. A lot of people like to put the Star Veil on the top character because it's less inputs to get around.
Nope, now going for that Bacchus.
Yeah, there's.
The Heron Robe and the Arty Bow will seriously tank your mage's casting stats, but that doesn't matter when you've got really good weapons and can just zerk them up and attack. Getting that reflected white for quad 9s, thanks to that white robe.
Yeah, that's trying to get as much damage in before Porum is possibly relegated to just keep Cecil alive mode.
And it looks like with this second Big Bang, it's going to be just keep Cecil alive.
I don't know if you noticed, that was a 1300 damage unnerfed Big Bang to that Porum.
Yeah. White shirt, protect ring, ribbon. Porum's got some beefy magic defense.
This Aromas, even with the Silk Web on, is still going pretty fast.
Yeah.
Leggy has to make sure she's watching Porum's MP here, because with all those Cure 4s could be running out.
Yeah, that is a worry. Although, still has enough for 5 more casts.
And already into phase 2, though, with the nuke.
That's a good sign. Taking the nuke, but it's probably okay. Threemus' script gives plenty of time to recover from the nuke. So should be able to heal up before this next Big Bang.
And Cecil's swinging away 5 to 7k. I think she's pretty safe here.
Oof, that was a high roll Big Bang on Porum, but still surviving. And we're at rocks.
There's rocks.
So, Porum should never get hit by any of these. So we should be fine from this point.
Yeah, two more swings.
And there's the dissolve. There's the crumble. GG's to Leggystarscream for sticking out and finishing this seed.
GG's to Leggy. And we will see if we can get her in for an interview. With the GGs for Leggy, we do have one more race that we're going to be going to. While we wait on Leggy to join us here in the booth, we will be moving over, once the interview's been done, to Randomania, where we have another Highway to the Threemus Zone match going on. I believe that's going to be Couch versus Bursting Badger, and we are joined by Leggystarscream. GG's.
Thank you. That was definitely a seed. Definitely was the sort of seed that plays directly to my weaknesses, but, you know, always worth the challenge.
Well, despite that was a rude moon, for one. Those bosses were out for blood. You've still played it extremely well, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I felt really confident. If I hadn't screwed up the D-Machine grind, then I feel like that seed goes very differently. But that's literally something I had not attempted until this race. So
Yeah, I myself, I've only pulled off the can't run manipulation once, and I got lucky on my counting. So
yeah, definitely. I saw that Mac Giant and went, nope, okay, I'm gonna go figure out something else to do.
Yeah, I've only done the D Machine Manip, I think, twice, and both of them were in races. So, and I've definitely messed it up in a restreamed race before, so
Oh yeah.
it's fine.
I honestly have no hard feelings about this race. Yeah, it's a tough loss. Unfortunately, it means I'm going home. But what it does mean is I get to hang out in the booth more.
Well, we will be happy to have you join us more often in the booth. How did you feel about the when you saw how free Ordeals was? You got that Magma key. You'd been to Fabble. You turned in that pan and hit Yang on the head. You got that crystal sword. How'd that make you feel with that Cecil already in your party?
Oh, it felt amazing. I'm like, okay, that solves like 90% of the problems. Valvalis at D-Litters wasn't necessarily one of them to begin with.
Yeah, and unfortunately that Val was gating that Legend Sword. I'm not sure if you got a chance to look in the spoiler log, but the Demus had the Legend Sword.
Yeah, I saw that Demus super early, and I knew we had the required Baron, so I was getting really, really excited about that Demus. I watched the spoiler log at the end, and I'm glad to know my intuition paid off there.
Sorry, Xenocat, go ahead.
Yeah, this was looking like a really close race for a really long time. You checked that Baron in before Gambit did and found that hook. Got through Dwarf Castle first, found that Rat Tail and that Twin Harp. The only difference was Gambit had already done his grind by the time he came back down to do Dwarf Castle, so he tore through Dwarf Castle and tore through a lot of those Blue Planet checks before, while you were still going through them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you actually hit the music at the exact same time.
Oh, wow.
The only difference being he had completed the grind, whereas you had more checks done. He had not gone to the Fey March at that point, so he went, as you went to the moon, he went back down to the underground.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And let's face it, that the party with the levels I had no business being on the moon at that time.
Yeah, but you only needed, you had your 10, you were at 9 key items. If you could have gotten at least one of those bosses down and got your 10th, you probably could have pulled through if they weren't just as rude as they could have been.
Yeah, I was really hoping for something that was cheesable. I had that stack of coffins and hourglasses burning that hole in the back of my pocket. I was looking for, like, the Water Hag, or heck, even a Gauntlet wouldn't have been the worst at the time. I'm glad I found that Mylon fight. The black shirt, I think I got the black shirt off him, was nice, but it definitely wasn't that 10th key item I wanted.
Yeah, and it was looking like that, you could have caught up because Gambit went top down. And so, the Bahamut spot had the black shirt, the Murasame altar didn't have a key item either. It was looking like you guys were going to converge on that Valvalis, and then you left to go, do some of the underground checks to get some more levels.
Yeah, I saw her, and given how squishy my party was, I wasn't willing to take anything that wasn't eminently cheesable at the time.
Makes sense.
So unfortunately, being 0-2, you're technically, mathematically not going to be able to advance. Are you going to play a third match next week?
I am, unfortunately, probably gonna bow out from that. I've got a lot of other stuff that I want to put off, or have been putting off because I've been practicing for this. But you haven't seen the last of me.
Well, I didn't expect to see the last of you, but You ran a great race. You've done really well throughout all the races that I've seen you run. So don't feel, too terrible. You've been playing pretty well. I didn't even enter. So
Yeah, no, this was a ton of fun. I highly recommend everyone to keep their eyes open for whatever the next big event is. I am still, in the grand scheme of things, relatively new to free enterprise, and everyone who feels up to it should feel welcome to just jump on in and try their hand.
Yeah, the Magma group this tournament has been really scary, so you've done really well.
Thank you.
well, that's all I have for Leggy. Do you have anything else, Cena Cat?
Nope, I think I'm good.
Thank you, Leggy, again. That was a fantastic race that you ran. You and Gambit both. If you haven't done so out there in Free Enterprise, please give these two a follow. They put on a great race for us. We're going to be kicking this over to Rando Mania to catch that match and get us going. They just got started. Thank you again to our restream team, Alaska424 and X Pancraz, our tracker, and to my co-commentator, Xenacat. If you haven't given the restream team a follow, please do.
Yeah, thank you for joining me, Bad Karma. This has been a great match, and